Welcome to Inform TV. I'm Ellen Repke, Alexandria, Minnesota. Today, this 18th day of February 2015, Ash Wednesday, we're going to put some things out for you to view that was on Twin City TV, at least one of them, and to give some perspective for our guests that are coming to town, WCCO, going to the frozen lake. Frank Vassalero and Chris Schaefer. And we're going to put up a piece they did on what they called an iconic and legendary radio celebrity in the Twin Cities, and most of you have probably listened to him. I used to listen to him from time to time when I was in the Twin Cities. And we're talking about Tom Barnard. And we want to give those two guys a little perspective of how we see things when it comes to religion and marriage compared to how Tom Barnard related to his life and some of the things we're involved with. And it comes down from a standpoint of a debate that Tom Barnard in his radio outlet, social outlet, friends relating to the marriage amendment that I think you're going to find fascinating, and I encourage you, somebody, to see that Frank and Chris get to see this as well, so they get some understanding about how we here out in rural Minnesota, where the forest, the lakes, and the fields meet. And part of the reason that Tom Bach is suddenly very nervous when the governor wants to give $35,000 pay increases to his commissioners, and especially Jessen, the Department of Health and Human Services, who was the first board member of MNsure. He had got raked over the coals big time yesterday by the legislative auditor, and we want to do a program on that in depth at some point in time. But today we want to make sure that Frank and Chris are aware that they're in the land of two TV stations now, the Inform TV, and historically we've had, I guess, three different TV stations in Alexandria. I've been on the air now for 2.5 years. We need to see, somebody needs to talk to these guys and say, hey, they're land of TV censorship, where we've got at least 5 cable companies in the radius where the selective TV signal goes out, but you're not allowed in cable, so the elite and those professionals, or those people with good incomes, or people that just like cable TV and want certain things. We're not against that in any manner, shape, or form, but the reality is that when you have cable providers, the local station should be on air, plain and simple. And in this process, we're going to put up a piece from last night on WCCO-TV that they posted on YouTube for everybody to see. So we're going to show it to you, and to see some perspective of what the so-called professional broadcasters view of one of their fellow colleagues. But at the same time, I've had this debate, and it relates to Mary Franson, and I'm not a big fan of Mary, but enjoy talking to her as well as any of our elected officials. I don't believe the abortion issue, we've come to an impasse, and it's time to move on, get people that realize that, and we each teach our family or our friends or give to a cause to promote their position. But when it comes to the Republicans or Democrats, we've got financial matters that we need to address. We got social matters relating to underprivileged people, and so on and so forth. But anyway, in this process, I want to put up this clip that was on WCCO, because a lot of you guys didn't get to see it, and I wanted to see it another time myself, being they were coming to the lake here. And I also want to give you a little thought process here as far as what I received from one of the businesses, 6th Avenue Wine and Ale, where I go up and have a beer or a glass of wine from time to time and a bite to eat. They don't want to advertise with me, so I try to buy the most of my meals from the restaurants in the area that do some advertising with me, and just go there. It's handy when I'm running something on a computer that needs to get ready for broadcast. My system gets tied up, and run up there and have a beer, a glass of wine, listen to some music. I like the place. In fact, I'd like to see it doubled in size, because I think it's one of the good many venues we have in town. And we want to attract people to town. And Inform TV, we get in Wilmer, we get in Fargo and some other locations. We can do that. But at the same time, as press, we want to show people some of the things behind the scenes that maybe we as residents shouldn't be too proud of. And that being that when you have a local TV station, everybody should have access to it, plain and simple. But anyway, this piece I received from 6th Avenue Wine and Ale, an email says, WCCO is coming to 6th Avenue Wine and Ale. And WCCO's Going to the Frozen Lake is coming to 6th Avenue Wine and Ale for a live broadcast this Thursday, February 19th. Come on down and give Frank Vassalero and Chris Schaefer a warm Alexandria welcome. And obviously we want to do that. But at the same time, we want them to be aware of how I think most of the people in outstate Minnesota view some of the things that the big city people think nothing of, and that relates to our Christian faith and our worshiping and our understanding of what we believe marriage to be. And in this process, first and foremost, I'm going to run the 7-minute piece of WCCO and their news staff, anchors and professionals there, look at the life of Tom Barnard. And there's certain things I agree with him on when I've listened to him, and a lot that I don't. But that's true of a lot of people in all our lives. And what I want you to do right now is to listen to their view, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to make some comments on what I think most of you people would view Tom Barnard and his followers when it comes to marriage and relationship. Chris Kluwe is also on this. He's the so-called star of this debate that Tom Barnard was involved in putting it on air in his blog on YouTube, and I think we need to look at it, and I want Chris and Frank to see it as well, but obviously I'm not going to be involved in any of these weekend features. But if some of you run into them, tell them, hey, they're on local TV, Inform TV, that should be in Wilmer, should be in Fargo. Maybe you can put a plug in for this guy. Maybe you'll learn something if you would talk to this guy at some point in time. But enjoy Alexandria when you're in town. We're glad to have you here, but there's a lot more to Alexandria than what the local elite wants you to see, and to see a good view of the community and the thought processes, you need to look at what old Inform TV put up on TV the night before you came to town. Listen to this clip from WCCO.
Right now, a radio legend opens up about his difficult childhood.
You know, I wish I could tell you I loved my father, but I never did.
Tom Barnard shares his journey to becoming one of Minnesota's most popular voices. He's a Minnesota broadcasting legend.
I started working when I was 11 years old. I was a janitor, and I've been working ever since.
From very humble beginnings.
You know, I wish I could tell you I loved my father, but I never did.
The journey that made Tom Barnard one of the most iconic voices you hear on the radio.
You don't think you have any shot of ever getting out of here.
Next.
One of the most recognizable voices in Minnesota says that he wants to be on the radio for the rest of his life.
Tom Barnard recently signed a new contract at KQRS. His long radio career isn't the only thing that defies the odds. He overcame some huge obstacles growing up in North Minneapolis.
You grow up in a neighborhood like this, you are convinced you have no shot. Because you're told, basically, I'm never going to make it out of here, so why try?
Today, Barnard is wealthy, working on a new project, and is an investor in several restaurants. All this from a guy who years ago thought he was trapped in a life of poverty and despair.
Minnesota's classic rock, back to the KQ Morning Show.
Yeah, he's not one of those guys, Bobby Brown. I will never understand what Whitney Houston ever saw in him.
Since 1986, people have been tuning in to hear Tom Barnard start their day.
Woody Allen's as nasty as they get.
He's grown to be a Minnesota icon who is open, honest, and says exactly what's on his mind.
You think Katy Perry was nervous?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's really pretty.
I think she looks goofy.
Tom Barnard doesn't have a radio persona. On the air or off the air, he's the same guy.
He's been a ratings leader for 30 years.
Scott Jameson runs KQRS for Cumulus Broadcasting. The company says Barnard is simply irreplaceable. Over the next 5 years, they'll pay him millions just to be himself.
He's open and transparent, and he's real. One day he's crabby, next day he's happy, the next day he's funny. Every day is what you and I are like, but he has the mouthpiece to say it.
I was always a mouthy little kid.
Being so successful for so long is impressive. But when you understand how he grew up,
You grow up in a neighborhood like this, you are convinced you have no shot.
it's remarkable.
This particular house, there's not a whole lot of happy memories, a lot of misery. And for this particular one.
Tom Barnard grew up in North Minneapolis, one of 7 children.
Did you realize how poor you were when you were living here?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Poor might not explain how bad it was at times.
We went for stretches where we literally ate fried bread dough and watermelon for like 6 months because we couldn't afford any other food.
But it wasn't because they weren't trying. The kids worked.
I started working when I was 11 years old. I was a janitor. And I've been working ever since.
Mom worked hard too. She was a waitress in a diner. Dad was the issue.
You know, my father was schizophrenic, caused a lot of problems. And my mother is just, he wore her down.
Mental illness led to instability. Tom says frequent evictions meant he lived in 43 different houses growing up.
Came back for a couple of months when I was about 15 or 16. And then he left, and I didn't see him again 17 years later when he died.
Even today, he can't bring himself to forgive.
My father and I never got along. I just, I wish I could tell you I love my father, but I never did.
Do you have more sympathy now that you're older for people with mental illness? And
Oh, definitely that, yes. The torment that those people go through is horrible.
Once he started making money in radio, Tom made sure his mother never had to worry or work again. Then he started to diversify.
The guacamole here is really good.
God, is that good. Today, he's an investor in Barrio and 5 other restaurants. One of them is the highly acclaimed Bar La Grassa. He says being wealthy is hard to explain.
I don't care about money. I never care. It seemed like I would because I grew up so poor, and then all of a sudden they were doing well, and now all I care about is money. I don't care about it. You know, we've given a lot of our money to different causes, charities that we believe in.
But he does care about winning. That's why he started the Tom Barnard Digital Radio Network.
Oh, yeah.
He records the advertiser-supported show from 3 to 5 every weekday afternoon.
You have an unusual way of problem solving. Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Throwing people off a building.
I feel like,
Wife Catherine and the Barnards' 2 kids, Andy and Alex, are all on the digital show. So is Alex's husband, Dan.
Right. We're abnormally close.
We're a very close family.
The kid from the troubled family grew up to be the man who can't stand to be away from his family.
I will always work. I love doing the KQ Morning Show. I just love it. And now I have the afternoon show. I love that too because I get to work with my family.
KQRS Radio will soon begin airing the Best of the Tom Barnard digital show on Sunday mornings. He told me he also has plans to expand the digital radio network in 2015.
He's a very busy man. I love how open he is, though.
He doesn't hide anything.
No, he doesn't.
That's part of his success, and not everyone can do that.
Yeah. Was there anything that you found surprising that he talked about?
A couple things. I mean, he works a lot. He gets up at 4 a.m., probably works 16 hours a day, and he has to do 6 or 7 live hours of content, and he doesn't prep for it.
He doesn't prep for it?
No, he says he likes to be spontaneous. He said it's kind of scary and kind of dangerous, but he likes to kind of be out on the edge. And he says that's also what kind of keeps it fresh. And it does, but I mean,
I'm
that's
sure the listeners can sense that too, and hear that.
A lot of work. It's a lot of work. So, yeah, it's interesting. So,
well, he's successful at it. So.
Yeah, Chris, the other thing, he says he drives by North Minneapolis about 4 times a week still, just to kind of remember the neighborhood and where he's from and all that.
That's very cool.
And he still has friends, though, from the neighborhood, too.
Yeah, right? For sure.
Yeah. Well, he's a legend. I competed against him a couple of times in my radio days. Let's be honest, I was like the Indianapolis Colts to his New England Patriots in that championship game, but it was fun. Yeah, he's the man, no doubt about it. Nice after we get through the next few,
Thanks, Chris.
Hi.
Hi.
First of all, little Marky Rosen says kudos to you, Tommy B. We had some good times, that is for sure.
I bet you did.
Oh, wow. It was going to be a tough.
We didn't know, Rosie, your family grew up around Tom Barnard?
My dad grew up in North Minneapolis at the Homewood Theater. That's where he worked as an usher, and Tommy B. We had lots of discussions about growing up on the North Side. I didn't grow up on the North Side. He certainly did. I didn't know a lot of that stuff that he had out there tonight. It's quite the upbringing for sure.
Absolutely.
Did okay for himself.
He did. Shaped a lot of who he is.
Yes, he did.
Why he works and the things he does. So
Absolutely.
It was interesting. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Letterman's coming up.
Have a good night.
Now I want you to watch this 30-minute video blog on a debate that was put on by Tom Barnard, his families, his supporters, Chris Kluwe, the Vikings punter, that were very successful in stopping a marriage amendment here in the state of Minnesota. And I think all of us as Christians and Minnesotans, looking at the history of marriage and the incredible benefit and outcome of marriage for families, should be very ashamed of ourselves and of seeing that amendment didn't pass. And it's not that we're don't believe that people that are gay or lesbian don't have legal rights or are not welcome in our churches. I don't believe there should be in the pulpit, like my ELCA and other churches now welcome them when you look from a biblical perspective. And this Ash Wednesday, when I attended church at Calvary here in town for a nice service, Pastor Hans talked about how Ash Wednesday and the Lenten process is going away by a lot of churches, that it's not really being practiced or followed and as a major event in the church. And I would contend a lot of it is because our churches and we as Christians have not been upfront to people as far as there is an alternative in our life to be saved, or the other is to rot in hell. And many churches today, including my ELCA, I think put way too much emphasis on mercy and grace. And part of the passage that was read, Matthew 6, 1 through 6 and 16 through 21 by Hans, relating to our just reward, points that out very clearly, and he did a great job of reading it. I was going to read it here, but I want you to listen to that. I'm not here as a preacher. I'm here as a strong Christian, as well as an individual that believes that as press I have an obligation to show you not just what the big Twin City news organizations want to show you about a particular celebrity in our state. I want to show you, as Paul Harvey used to say, the rest of the story, and some of the views that were successfully put across, and I think it gives a real focus on Chris Kluwe as well as the Barnard family. And in that process of that marriage is just about love and anybody can marry, and what about husbands and wives? And one of the things at Calvary today that Pastor Mike read was very significant in Genesis, the very beginning of the Word. And in chapter 3, verse 6, it says, "So when woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree desirable to make one wise, she took of it fruit and ate. She also gave it to her husband with her, and he ate." So the word husband and wife, female and male getting together, goes back to the very earliest portion of the Word we as Christians follow, no matter what denomination we follow. And then it goes on in chapter 3, verse 16. "To the woman he said," and this is God talking, "I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." Then to Adam God said, "Because you have heeded the voice of your wife and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it, cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life." And then he went on to 19, "In the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground, for out of you were taken. Out of it you were taken. For dust you are, and for dust you shall return." So in the very early part of the Word, God makes it very plain about man being the husband and woman being the wife. And then we go on to the New Testament in relation to Christ's reference of children leaving their mother and father to be bound as one in marriage. Makes it very plain what God's view and our Savior's view of what marriage should all be about. And with that, I want you to listen to this, a real live view of Tom Barnard, Chris Kluwe, his family, Tom's family, and the people that, how they view Christianity and how they view marriage. I think it's very informed as far as what took place by those that think marriage is just about love and religion is whatever. Take a look. Before I start the tape, I need to clarify that this is adult content, but I don't think there's anything on that kids have heard on the playground in many times. But I did end up, I'm long format, I like to put it all out there, but I did, to meet FCC guidelines and make sure that the selective TV board or any of you out there are comfortable. I did, and there'll be a little flash there. My editing equipment is, and my abilities are anything but great. But in the process of, before I put this on, and if any kids out there, talk to your mom and dad. before you watch it, and let them watch it first. It's adult content, but I'm not afraid to have it on, and we're not violating FCC rules or anything by looping it. So, but with that, I want you to understand that I removed the word BS, the word, because that the S part of it is not acceptable by FCC standards. I also removed the F word a couple of times, and I believe I got everything off. I had nothing but issues trying to edit this and get this piece to work in my system here. Probably spent 6 hours or more trying to do that today. And but I want you to be aware before you watch this, it's adult content, and I did remove the BS word from that Tom mentioned once, and the F word he mentioned twice. And that's all I took out, or just a phrase or two on either side of it. Other than that, it's complete from their blog site that they posted on YouTube for everybody to see.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming to the Chris Kluwe versus the chair debate on the amendment. My name is Tom Barnard. I'm the general manager of the Tom Barnard podcast. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce the rest of our staff on the podcast. Catherine Brandt, Tom's wife. Alex Brandt Barnard, Tom's daughter. Andy Barnard, who's right there in the blue with the wink and the pistol. Tony Lee is around here someplace. I don't know where Tony Lee. He's got a bad kidney, so he might not be here right now. Am I forgetting anybody? Well, maybe the guy who's in charge of the whole thing, who put this all together. My uncle, he's on KQRS, the #1 morning show in America, actually, as far as ratings compared to their next competitor. Started the Tom Barnard podcast 2 months ago. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Barnard.
Everyone. My God. Nice crowd. Why do you have popcorn? I don't get any popcorn. Maybe in a bit. Maybe in a bit. I do need to thank you all for coming tonight. I thought the crowd would be larger, actually. I'm hoping after 5 o'clock that people have to work till 5, because it's a very, very important issue. And I hope people will, support the idea. Correct? There are no children here, right? Nobody? Nobody under 18? I was just going to say, I just find it interesting that anyone cares what anyone else does with their genitalia. I just don't really understand that, and I never have. And who cares? It's really none of my goddamn business who anyone loves. Don't you agree? Love who you love. You know what? It took me a long time to find love. I got lucky as hell. I mean, it's, yeah, I don't know why you put up with me. Thank you, dear. Thank you all for coming tonight. Again, we invited over 20 people from the pro-amendment side. They all declined, by the way. I don't understand how you can hold a strong belief. I believe this, but I really don't want to leave the house on a Friday night to defend it. Oh, Jesus. Never mind, this will last till about midnight if I don't stop. So here's what's going to happen. We invited over 20 people, the pro-amendment side. They all declined. So the fine actors at the Brave New Workshop, the oldest satirical theater in the country, have offered to read quotes from the pro side verbatim. Are you going to put on accents and everything? Oh, yeah. A lot of accents? Just don't do a German accent. That'll be like a little over the top. I don't, In any case, they'll be quoted verbatim, though. That's the key. These are things that people actually said. Would you turn down the popcorn deal? I'm trying to do a bit. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. It's just fine. All right, so two guys walking to a bar. No. Anyway, so yes, please, all the actors from Brave New Workshop, please stand up. Everyone, you're all over there. You know what's funny about that? I've been in the business a long time, and I assumed some of the actors would be sitting down. Because it's only 5 o'clock at night, for Christ's sake. It's a little early for them. In any case, you know what? It would be great if you could introduce yourselves.
I'm Mike Motis, Workshop. I'm Andy Hilbrands.
I heard the pressure's on after the debate. It's going to be on you guys to make us all laugh. I'm looking forward to it, I'm telling you that. Now, before we get started, a few rules. Just got a couple of rules here. Please don't boo. I know that some of us are not going to like some of the things they're going to hear from the other side. But don't boo them, because we want to hear what they have to say. And that way, our special guest can do his rebuttals. So please don't boo or yell out. Keep the conversation to a minimum. We know this is a serious issue. I wish everybody knew it was so as serious as all of us in this room knew tonight. In any case, it's an important amendment, no matter the side you're on, I suppose. It's, you know. I would think, though, that if it were important to you, you'd show up to debate, Mr. Kluwe, but that's just me. Anyway, we're going to try to give equal time to each side, but the pro side did not show up. Go ahead, make my day. Just stole that from Clint Eastwood, you know. It's funny, my niece is here. My niece is a huge Obama supporter. And I said, you know, it turned out that empty chair deal was a good idea in the end. And she goes, it's the only goddamn good idea. I said, settle down. Settle down. So what I'm saying is, no one act like my niece, okay? If that's okay. We are going to give equal time to each side, but the pro side did not show up. At the end of the debate, the Brave New Workshop actors, our friends, will improvise a few scenes, describe what they've seen. We hope you find this educational and entertaining. We've got a couple of videos to show you, too, that would be pretty interesting. So we will get started. Now, we flipped a coin earlier, ladies and gentlemen, and the chair won the toss. I'm not lying. So the chair will go first. Our first quote is from Mary Franzen. Mary!
Hello.
You're prettier than I remember.
Well,
No.
Thank you.
That was cool.
Now, there could be some consequences if this bill does not pass. The amendment does not pass. If it were to fail, there could be some consequences. My concerns are that our children and our schools could be taught some liberal agendas because of the marriage amendment. Because in the schools, they might be taught that this is normal behavior. And I personally do not believe that it is. But I also believe in the choice, and I firmly support marriage between one man and one woman. All right.
God, Mary, you're with passion. It was read with passion. Very proud of you. Chris Kluwe, ladies and gentlemen. The greatest thing about this night, the timing. You know, timing is really important in a lot of these things. And what's great for Chris is he only punted once last week, so he got a lot of rest. You punted like once, didn't you?
Twice, I think.
Twice.
A lot of thinking done.
Hey, I got to ask you something very quickly. That video they showed during the game of you like doing a game show?
Mm-hmm. Know Your Viking.
That's not live, is it?
No, not yet.
Because I was thinking, there's a game going on, you got your punter out there, and he's like doing a game show. Know Your Viking. All right, you heard Mary Franzen's quote.
I did hear Mary Franzen's quote, and it's kind of disturbing. I'll start at the end, actually. When Mary Franzen says that, you know, she supports choice, but that she believes marriage is between one man and one woman, when you pass a constitutional amendment, you're really not supporting choice, Mary. You're actually taking away people's choices, and you're taking away their right to vote and decide on this amendment, and you're taking away their children's right to vote on it. We live in a representative democracy. We elect legislators. They pass laws. If we don't like it, we elect new legislators. Passing a constitutional amendment is an end run around that, and it's not cool. The other part, God forbid our children learn some liberal agenda in school, because you can make that same argument about 50 years ago with segregation. God forbid our children learn that black children are the same as them, and it sounds pretty much the same. So I would rather my children learn that people are people, treat other people the way you would like to be treated, and be who you are. It's really that simple. If your child happens to be gay, I would much rather your child grows up knowing that it's okay to be gay rather than being bullied or being, driven to thoughts of suicide. That's not how children should be raised. So, Mary, I simply do not agree with you. Thank you for not showing up.
Thank you for not showing up. Please don't boo. No, I was just kidding. You actually get to sit down if you want to. I don't.
I feel bad, though. It's a chair. I mean, that's one of my debate opponents. What if they're related?
Right there's your opponent right there.
The middle one? The left one? Right one? Left one? All right.
I guess
Mike reach that far?
No, there's a mic over there.
Okay.
He is a punter. Don't forget that, okay? I couldn't believe that the other day. I'm talking to Philip Wise on the air, and he goes, I'm telling him, Chris is a great guy. He came over to the house. We were hanging out, having a great time. He goes, Tommy, he's not a football player. He's a punter. Like, oh, okay. Okay, Philly, whatever you say. But it's great to have you here tonight. Really, really is. No question about it. Would you agree?
Thank you, everyone.
I admire people in the public eye, especially guys who have to go into a locker room with really big guys speaking their mind. That's really admirable. Really is.
Thank you.
He actually is a really good guy. I'm not kidding you. I'm not making it up as I go along. Well, a little.
I fooled my wife.
Yeah, there you go. A lot, what is it, about 2 weeks ago, Matt Burke came out. I didn't mean came out. I mean, came out with a video. Excuse me. He came out with a video. He talked on the news quite a bit about the fact that he thinks that marriage is between one man and one woman. And here is the Matt Burke video.
I'm Ravens center Matt Burke. Marriage is not easy, but it has lasted throughout the ages as an honored institution because it provides a unique foundation for societies and children. Marriage is more than what adults want for themselves. It is also about the next generation. Marriage is and should remain between a man and a woman. Gay and lesbian couples already receive benefits in Maryland, like hospital visitation, state health benefits, and tax breaks. We don't need to redefine marriage. Vote against question 6.
Was that you, Tony?
Well timed, whoever that was.
Was it Tony? Yeah, it was Tony Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Lee. I just told him backstage it's great to be working with him again after 12 years. We worked together for, about 14 years. And then he just left. What the hell's the matter with you? Now, sorry, I'm just having fun. Chris Kluwe, your response to Matt Burke.
Well, Matt, I would say that we have constantly redefined marriage over the years as societies. That is what societies do. Societies change marriage. They redefine it according to what the social mores are at the time. And I would like to think that over the past, 10,000 years or so, we've gradually moved towards more freedom, not less freedom. We've recognized that other people deserve the right to live their own lives. And so, we're not redefining marriage to take away someone's rights. We're redefining marriage to give someone rights. It's about freedom. It's about, the choice to live your own life. And the fact is that gay couples right now do not benefit under all the federal laws that heterosexual couples do. They're denied 1,100 laws that people like me, straight people, can benefit from. To me, that is discrimination. That's plain and simple discrimination, that American citizens that pay their taxes, that serve in the military, cannot benefit under the same federal laws that another segment of the American population can. So I would say to Matt, this is about discrimination. It's about human rights, plain and simple. And frankly, I do not support discrimination.
I didn't know you were straight.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people are confused by that, but yeah,
I'm sure you're there.
I'm pretty straight.
It is what it is. Remember earlier when I said that you shouldn't boo? Remember that?
Boo.
Next, we have a quote from Michelle Bachmann. Janet, behave.
Keep the rumblings to a minimum.
Michelle! Did you have a breast reduction?
Yes, I did.
It isn't that some gay will get some rights. It's that everyone else in our state will lose their rights. For instance, parents will lose the right to protect and direct the upbringing of their children because our K-12 public school system, of which 90% of all you are in the public school system, they will be required to learn that homosexuality is normal, equal, and perhaps you should try it. And that will occur immediately, that all schools will begin teaching homosexuality.
Wait a minute, did you say teaching sexuality?
I majored in it.
Michelle, you look lovely in a beard. I want you to know that. You're looking great. No question. Mr. Kluwe.
I would say that is a flat-out falsehood. We're not all of a sudden going to turn school programs into being gay is the only way to live your life. What we'll be teaching our children is tolerance. We'll be teaching our children that it is okay to be who you are. It's okay that other people might be different than you. And like I said earlier, if you replace the words gay marriage or homosexuality with racial equality, it sounds eerily similar to arguments that were made 50, 60 years ago. So again, I am not for discrimination. I am not for being prejudiced against a segment of the American population. To me, that is not what this country stands for.
Very good, sir. Although I will tell you this, that after the debate tonight, anyone here who's gay, we're going to turn a fire hose on you. No, there's going to be water coming out of the hose. Yeah, it's going to hurt you. Well, not you. Well, you know, whatever. It all works out. This next one's interesting. This is a guy, I grew up Roman Catholic. And the Roman Catholic Church, they're pouring tons of dough into this. So no, it's a man and a woman only thing. But I did find out, and sorry about this, I'm supposed to be a moderator, but that chair is empty, so what the hell, right? Taking parish funds to fund his personal beliefs is really obnoxious to me. Really, really obnoxious. I have members of my family who are very, very pissed off about it, the fact that you can't do that. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take my money and you're going to fund something that supports your beliefs, and you're still not going to pay any taxes. Is that correct? No, I'm the moderator. I can't be saying that stuff. I'm sorry.
Sorry, sir, you can't swear.
Excuse me?
No, swear away.
I can't swear either. Anyway, and now a quote from Archbishop John Neinstedt.
The institution of marriage and family life are unraveling before our very eyes due to no-fault divorce, widespread cohabitation, and promiscuous sexual activity. Amendment opponents, he said, seek to eliminate the need for marriage altogether.
You're pretty damn handsome for an archbishop, I'll tell you that. Don't you have your hat with you, that little pointy thing that you know? And what are you going to do? Can we swear on this thing, or is that not good? I'd tell a story, but, you know, I don't know if I can do that or not. Mr. Kluwe.
I would say that, once again, that is completely false. No one is trying to take away the institution of marriage altogether. What we are asking for is that gay couples can get married. And Archbishop Neinstedt, I don't think you realize, but in the United States, there is something called the First Amendment, and it guarantees the separation of church and state. And what that means is that religions are free to be religions, but in turn, people are free from religion in this state. If you don't want to believe in a religion, no bills will be passed, no laws shall be made to force you to believe in that religion. So therefore, if you're becoming involved in secular matters, if you're using religious influence and trying to push religious laws on secular law, that is a clear-cut violation of the First Amendment. There is a reason you do not pay taxes, because you are a religious institution and you do not influence secular law. If you would like to pay taxes, I'm sure we could make an exception, and then we can, then you can start influencing secular law. I would also say that of the countries that have instituted religious law, notable examples are the Taliban and Iran. So I'd be careful what you wish for.
Very good, sir. I'm the moderator. That was okay. That was okay. At some point, I'm going to have to get to the fact, again, that my wife, Catherine. If I were not allowed to marry my wife, I would have to kick somebody's ass really bad. I mean, seriously. I meet this woman and somebody tells me, well, you can't marry her. Yeah. Take that home with you. That would not, I don't know how it's been tolerated for so long. In any case, we have another video. For those of you who aren't paying attention, you can now turn to the screen over here. Here's a video from Minnesota for marriage.
Now shifting to the Netherlands, ever since the Dutch passed registered partnerships in 1997, followed by formal same-sex marriage in 2000, their out-of-wedlock birth rate has been moving up at a striking clip. The country experienced a continuous 9-year spike in out-of-wedlock birth rates since the passage of the registered partnerships, and then a 5-year continuous spike since formal gay marriage went into effect. There has been a 10-fold increase in out-of-wedlock births there since 1980. All of these are indications of a breakdown of family structure in the Netherlands.
Jesus Christ. Speaking of the Archbishop, honey, didn't you tell me that if a man and a man have sex, or a woman and a woman have sex, they can't have a kid? So out-of-wedlock births of... Mr. Kluwe.
I really don't know what to say to that one. I mean, if your point is that same-sex marriage is causing more out-of-wedlock births, you probably don't understand basic biology. So you might want to go back to school, maybe rectify that situation. And the fact that you're trying to correlate that with a breakdown in family structures, the fact that same-sex marriage was passed, you think causes breakdown in family structure? Well, as anyone who has studied logic knows, or statistics, correlation does not equal causation. Just because something is correlated does not mean it causes it. So please, study biology and statistics.
You guys stop getting knocked up all the time. We're tired of it. That's all I have to say. That was a good response, by the way. I really enjoyed that. Wait a minute, I'm the moderator. You're doing a hell of a job.
Good job, Chair.
You really are. You're doing a great. Here's another quote from Minnesota for Marriage. I can't wait to see what Minnesota for Marriage looks like.
I look like this.
There's Minnesota for Marriage, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Marriage is a special relationship reserved exclusively for heterosexual unions because only the intimate relationship between men and women has the ability to produce children as a result of that sexual union.
Very well said, Marriage for Minnesota. I'm proud of you.
That was a deep baritone.
Well, he did that on purpose. I mean, he jaywalks too.
Okay, all right.
But anyway, in any case, your rebuttal, sir.
My rebuttal would be, then why are we not passing constitutional amendments to ban infertile couples, old couples, anyone else who gets married, maybe, say, an older man and a younger woman who might possibly have ulterior motives. Why don't we pass constitutional amendments to ban all those? Those are clearly not for the purpose of having children. If your definition of marriage is solely about the ability to have children, well, there are a lot of other marriages out there that you're going to need to get rid of. But somehow I don't see that happening because there might be some people on that side who maybe want to benefit from some of those marriages. So what it comes down to, marriage is about two people that love each other. They want to spend their lives together, and in some cases, most cases, they want to provide a stable environment for their children to be raised in. And gay couples adopt children. They raise children. And if you're denying them benefits under law, you're making it more difficult to raise those children. So if your argument is about it's for the children, well, you're actually hurting children. So please, keep that in mind the next time you want to talk about the children.
Thank you, sir. Who do you think the best looking so far was, Michelle Bachmann or Marriage for Minnesota? Or Minnesota for Marriage?
I think Michelle was pretty foxy.
Michelle was pretty foxy. There's no good. Look good in a beard. Look at that. Where are you going? Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly, we have a quote from Rick, spelled R-I-C-C-K, Rick Santorum. Did I say no booing? Damn it. Rick, they booed the hell out of you.
I'm used to it.
anyone saying same-sex couples can't love each other? I love my children. I love my friends, my brother. Heck, I even love my mother-in-law. Should we call these relationships marriage too?
You're kidding me. That guy ran for president. Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, closing remarks from Mr. Chris Kluwe.
Well, Rick, you're trying to set up straw men and then knock them over, and that is not a valid logical argument. A marriage is between, like I said earlier, two people that love each other, and in most cases want to establish a stable relationship to raise children in. And if you're talking about establishing a stable relationship with your children or your mother-in-law to raise children in, that's a little worrisome. I'm a little worried about that. But no, it's frankly it's distracting from the real question here, the real issue here, which is that it's about human rights. Gay marriage does not affect Rick Santorum in any way, shape, or form unless one of his children happens to be gay. And the only way it will affect them is they will not be allowed to marry. So what Rick needs to do is realize if you treat other people the way you want to be treated, it might turn out that gay marriage is a good thing, because you wouldn't want anyone telling you you can't get married. That's really what it boils down to. I wouldn't want anyone telling me I can't get married. I enjoy being married to my wife. And I wouldn't try to tell anyone else that they can't get married. It's not my place. It's not my responsibility. I have enough issues dealing with my life. I don't want to try and take care of someone else's life as well. So really it boils down to, people like Rick, Michelle, all the other proponents of this measure, is that please, just let us live our own lives. Stop trying to live other people's lives for them. Don't take away people's free will.
I almost clapped. Did you see that? I went, there. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Mr. Chris Kluwe.
Thank you, everyone. I will turn it back over to the chair.
Try the veal. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the empty chair. The chair did its job. I mean, the chair has no opinion. And a round of applause for our wonderful actor. Now, we have a special treat. The brave new workshop actors will perform a brief improv, and it's going to be... This ought to be interesting, by the way. It's going to... The set's... Yeah, it might not be unbiased. Well, this thing kind of did lean one way. Not on purpose. That's my fault. In any case, they're going to perform a brief improv set based on what they've learned. Thank you all for coming. Sean Barnard will come on stage for a brief contest announcement, as a matter of fact. Well, then put a little pause in here. What the hell's the matter with you? Jesus Christ. All right. We're going to bring the actors up on stage, correct?
That was amazing. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do some improv scenes based off of some of these notes that we've seen to get started. So what we need from you guys is a big round of applause to get us motivated. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you democracy!
Dad Santorum, it is I, your daughter.
I love you.
Well,
so much.
You might not in a minute. Dad, I'm pretty gay.
Hello.
This is my...
I'm Sarah.
This is my girlfriend.
Sarah has a beard.
Yeah, she's trying something.
And you love this person.
Very much, Pop.
As much as I love you.
Yeah. According to your speech, yeah.
Oh, the love between a father and a daughter does not equal the love between a gay and a gay.
All right, everybody, I want you to look at this chart.
Yeah.
What I did with this chart is I just put random facts that don't work together, and then I put a line going up.
Okay.
So I feel like maybe I've proved my point.
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
think so?
So, if I may interject, what if we took a marker and wrote another line going that way?
I love that. That is fantastic.
All right, so
I would love to piggyback on that.
Yeah,
And I'm going to circle this, and then I'm going to circle that and exit out.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. I'm going to draw a picture of a whale eating a taco. Take that for whatever you want it to mean.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm just going to write John 3:16 up here, just for the heck of it.
Yeah.
I'll
Just
see
for
your
the heck
John
of it.
3:16, and I'll raise that to a John 3:18, the little-known psalm that no one's ever read.
Yes.
well, I just have a question. This is my first gay class.
Okay. Just let her rip. I will tell you everything, because
This
that
class is amazing!
So, that's my first thing, is that I'm accustomed to more of a rows of chairs, and so far nothing...
in gay class, we like to express ourselves. So we have Johnny's learning tap, Michael's learning how to frolic.
And I'm drinking a serum that's going to make me even gayer!
Isn't that a hoot? What's your question?
Why is there techno music?
Oh, techno music makes you feel light, like at any minute you could grow wings. And we just feel like brains work faster and you start talking faster.
You know, I feel like this is something I would like to try.
All right!
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, well, what's up? You're looking good, Matt Burke.
Hey, I'm feeling good. You know why? I'm married to a woman.
Gingers should not be allowed to marry. They are soulless, evil people, less than the rest of us.
Hey, bro, I was on the 98 Vikings. Don't go there.
The 98 Vikings should not be allowed to marry.
Hello, welcome to the Netherlands.
You stay away from me.
Do you want the baby? We have lots of babies just hanging around, eating chocolate.
Goo gaga, goo gaga, goo gaga.
We're giving babies to other babies.
Goo gaga, goo gaga,
Yeah.
goo gaga. I'm the coolest punter on earth. I wear a ski cap and sandals everywhere.
Yeah. That's your dress ski cap.
Excuse me for a little while. I'm gonna game.
Yeah, we're gonna need you a total of 15 seconds.
Sounds good. I'm stretched.
We have to get a divorce.
What do you mean?
I went in and got the vasectomy, and since we can't make babies anymore,
Oh,
they
God.
told me that you had to go home and divorce your wife.
Oh my God.
So we gotta start splitting things up,
I guess
or
so.
put
I
a
mean-
duct tape line down the middle of the living room? I
The
don't know.
only reason we got together was to have kids.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh God.
Maybe we could just go on some sort of crime spree
Yeah.
where we kidnap children.
Well, I
We're
think
like, oh no, we
I
have
think
these.
we
These
have
are
them.
ours.
Yeah.
We made these.
That is our only option.
Or we have to leave, and I love you.
I love you. I love you.
But it's either crime spree or
Or
divorce,
divorce.
or I gotta go back under the knife. I don't really want to do that. I already went once.
Hey guys, welcome to the Minnesota for Marriage website meeting. The first thing I want to do is pretend that there isn't a First Amendment. Okay? How do you guys feel about
I
that?
love
Great.
that.
All right.
I'm afraid to actually say anything, as it's now restricted.
Yeah.
I love that.
First a what mint?
Exactly.
I have a great idea. How about we have a non-threatening, moderately attractive woman tell us things?
In a pantsuit.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. How about we have pictures of dogs with collars that say, "I'm not okay with gays."
Yes.
Yes, because you know they're not.
Exactly.
And
They
then
can smell like
Cats
gays.
are, but dogs aren't.
No.
Then once in a while we'll flash pictures of black people, so that everybody will think that.
You guys called me?
Yeah. We need you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We are the Brave New Workshop. Thanks to Chris, thanks to Sean, thanks to Tom. This was a lot of fun.
You're watching Inform TV, Alexandria, Minnesota.